Okay, today is one of my favorite sessions around goal setting. Now we say that we set goals in life, but when it comes to public speaking in general, we just let ourselves down. There are no goals. We just think we will become good speakers by joining these clubs, public speaking clubs like Toastmasters. We think will become good speakers by reading good books. But I just ask yourself, why are you here? Why did I join public speaking? When I started public speaking journey, my goal was to get confidence. Now I mentor so many folks, and every single person comes in, I want confidence. Now, confidence is good, and told this enough number of times that confidence is a byproduct of your goal, but not the goal itself. But how will you get confidence? I ask this question again, like if you are a mentee coming in, we sit together, we chat. I ask you, what do you want to get out of public speaking? You tell me, I want to get confidence. I'm getting nervous. I'm getting, the sales are not happening, or in my workplace, I'm not appearing that confident. I want to become confident. But why do you think doing public speaking helps you with your confidence? Then we discuss, and the conversation goes like this. I ask, okay, what does it mean for you when you get confidence? How do you know you become confident? Then, typical, my mentees tell me, okay, I know I'm confident when I have presented a speech without fear. Now, these are all abstract goals. The challenge with abstract goals is like Robin Sharma, the great author of The Monk Who Sold the Ferrari. If you have not read it, read it. He tells that vague goals leads to vague results. So yes, you will get results, but that's minuscule. But imagine you put your energy into building your goal, like have a public speaking goal. And instead of drifting away, like just turning up to meetings and assuming you'll become good, but if you work on a particular goal, you start waking up with purpose. It reminds me of another incident when in my coaching college, to my teacher, I asked, teacher was solving some of our questions, and she asked, and many people folks had, I want confidence and these things. She asked me, how can I help you? What is one thing that you want to solve out of this session? And I told, I want to find my purpose. And she laughed. And that was the last time I labeled her as my teacher. Because when your teacher laughs at your question instead of acknowledging your question, I think that's the end of that teacher student relationship. But that did not stop me, and that did not deter me, because she told me that all the great people are still finding their purpose, and you think that you and I sit together in 15 minutes, we will find our purpose? She told, impossible. And I told, why not? Of course, not at her face. And then I dug deep. What is my purpose? I kept asking myself. I became my own teacher and asked myself, what is my purpose? And eventually it was, okay, I want to earn money. Then I asked, and in the Hindu literature, Hinduism, they call it as uh, in the land of Advaita, means singularity. They call it as neti neti, means not this, not this. That means if you get something, you tell, if, is this your purpose? You ask the question and you take a stoical, you become kind of a stoic, and you ask that purpose. What is the purpose of my public speaking? And because I was focused on public speaking, I told, I want to become confident. Then I asked, but look at your actions. What are you doing That is not matching the purpose. Then I asked, okay, I'm mentoring people, I'm teaching people, I'm doing some kind of service to the club, but what is it giving me? I did not get answers for a few, I'd say, weeks, but eventually the answer popped up one morning. The answer came in, and I've still written it down. I want to give a voice to the unvoiced. People who are afraid of public speaking, I want to give them strength so then they can speak out. And when when you find your purpose, your passion, and all those things keep following. And that is the reason it helps me turn up every single day, even if there is nobody, or there is we have one mentee here, Raj, who has turned up. Even she is here, I'm always here. So if we keep floating, so the point is, if we keep floating, you will meet vague objective. But if you have a sharp focus, what do you want from my public speaking journey? I want you to take the journey with yourself on your own. What are you going to gain out of this public speaking? So that's number one. Second is, let's understand why we don't set goals in public speaking. We join because of confidence. We Number one, we don't set goals because of fear of failure. We are too afraid to fail. We don't want to fail. So that means if we set something high enough, we don't achieve it, it causes embarrassment. And if you have told to other people, it causes more embarrassment. So what we do is we do not, that's the easy part. Then the second reason we don't set goals, it's quite strange. We have this fear. One moment, I'm just going to change my camera to my this camera. It's much easier, and move the clutter. So we don't. You can hear me, Raj?
Yep, I can hear
Okay,
you.
good. Not to set goals is we don't set goals because of the fear of achievement. That means some people say that, okay, if I achieve certain things, then I will lose that motivation. So there is something, if I win, and it's kind of an achiever's goal. If you look into special elite athletes, Olympians, knowingly they will fall sick on the day of the race because they think that, okay, if I achieve my purpose, I don't know what should I look forward to. The problem of achievement is another problem. And I don't know about you, and it's very hard to comprehend, but there are certain things which are really strange of this world. Fear of achievement. So that means what that tells us is we should also have not one goal, we should have stacked goals. So just not one goal. I'll have, if I achieve this, what is the next goal? And what is the next goal? You should have multiple goals in your public speaking. And the third reason, common reason why people don't achieve their goals is they don't know how. Yes, they know how to do it in their personal life, in their work, they know how to achieve a goal. If they have kids, they know how to plan a goal. But when it comes to public speaking, they don't know what goal to set. So if you are a Toastmaster, there's good news. Toastmaster gives you pathways. So even if you have no goals, this is where you start. You start with pathways. Pathways has 4 levels. Your number one goal is to become a distinguished Toastmaster. So what does distinguished Toastmaster mean? That means you have completed 2 paths in the pathway, and or around 8 or 10 different speeches. 8, 10 speeches. I think anybody can give 8 or 10 speeches, but based on specific projects. But what does this give you? Rather than just turning up, preparing a speech of any topic, if we just focus and get the paths there, it starts opening different doors for you. You then so I have a rule here. If to break a rule, you first have to know the rule inside out. So that means follow the track of Toastmasters. If you have presentation mastery, do that. If you have engaging humor, do that. But complete that path. Once you complete that path, pick another path and do it. And then you 4 levels, you get 8 different awards. Level 1, 2, 3, 4. And the last project, why it is important? Because the last project of most paths are a keynote speech. That means for 40 minutes, you have an audience and you have to give a speech of 40 minutes. That's one of the projects we have in Toastmasters. So that's the reason from next session on, what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on, we'll take each path and understand all the projects of the path and probably walk you through all the paths. So it's absolutely clear. But if you don't have a goal, that is the goal should aspire to. Now, coming back to my story, when I joined as a new Toastmaster, I did not have a goal. My goal was I came from a painful experience in the office, was to, I want to show them I'm good at public speaking. But that's the negative goal. The problem with negative goal is you get negative results and you get trauma out of it if you don't achieve it. And then my mentor, Ed and Mike, two mentors, they told me, just focus on the path. And during those old days, we had a competent communicator, advanced communicator bronze, advanced communicator silver, advanced communicator gold, and then you have to do district role, and then you become a DTM, a distinguished toastmaster. So then they told, forget it, just focus on your goal. So I did my competent communicator, 10 speeches, done. Then I got competent leader. Then in my advanced communicator bronze, I did a series on entertaining speeches, 5. Then series on storytelling, 5. And that way, I started building my portfolio. Now, this is the beauty of Toastmasters. If you don't like pathways, you don't have to do pathways. You can take the old manuals, which I can share with you, Toastmaster manuals, and follow those projects and map it to the current path. And that way, if you like the old tracks, do it. Many clubs do it, but get some goal that I want to reach over here. Next, and why should you then set your goal in public speaking? Once I achieved, say, in how many? In 2 years' time, I achieved DTM, Distinguished Toastmaster, because in a given year, I give 50 speeches across 4 clubs. And sometimes it's the same speech. I just kept giving in competitions. If you give a speech, for example, in the division contest, I give the speech around 8 or 9 times. But what I did was I finished ticks of different, even if it's the same speech, I ticked off many tracks of my path by changing different modules. So why you should set a goal? A, you should stop floating. Once you have a goal, you start building with a mission and you start moving towards the goal. Second, when you stop floating, you're moving with purpose, you start growing because then each speech is with an intention to achieve the goal. So once you start growing, the third thing is you start becoming the future self that you have envisioned, I should say. Now, what is your main challenge here? Number one challenge will come is first of all, you will not believe yourself. You have to convince yourself that this is my vision. Even if it's not a Toastmaster track, if you have a goal of becoming a stand-up comic, then build that dream that I want to present at the Melbourne Comedy Festival. I want to see my audience laughing. I want a paid audience. Once you build all the details and just and what are you feeling when you get into to that goal? Once you vision that one, you start putting in energy into that goal. And the more energy you put, the more enthusiastic you start becoming in preparing a speech. Now, I've heard a few mentees of mine who have given me recordings. I asked, what is the purpose? If you have, if you are one of my mentees, And you told me it's entertaining speech. But from now on, start building your speech with purpose. Because what I see is the moment you're giving a speech, you're giving a part or you're sharing a part of yourself with in front of the audience. So have those recordings, have those speeches, treasure it. Because moving on, you never know, you become a huge successful keynote speaker. You will use these stories and start building it in your presentation. You don't need to present from scratch. If you ask all the great speakers, Zig Ziglar, say, um, Tony Robbins, if you keep listening, you'll see the stories recurring again and again. So that means when you reach to a level, you don't start writing new material. You take this material, rehash it, and it feels fresh even you have practiced 1,000 times. So, action number one, if you have a path, set your goal. Second action. So have a goal. If you are a Toastmaster, set a goal that I need to achieve this by this day. Put a date on it. Within 2 years' time or within a year time, I'll achieve it. Have a big goal and then have a shorter goal. By December this year, I'll achieve this one. But have a big goal and have an annual goal. And you're so smart, you can even Google to find goal frameworks. Do whatever works for you. But my point is have a goal and build that vision. And the other obstacle is many times you will laugh at your goal. When you don't meet, you will laugh at your failures. When you go into, uh, when you share your goals with family, for example, say, for example, I wanted to be a stand up comic. And the biggest person who laughed is my family. You can never become, you cannot make me laugh and then you'll make this one laugh, especially brothers are very terrible at brothers and sisters are very terrible at hunting down your goal. So share with caution, but then if it's your goal, God has given you vision to see that goal. The other folks laugh at it because they have not seen that goal, but you have seen it, you have felt it. And this is what Jim Rohn says is borrow from the future. Borrow that vision from the future and bring it to the present and feel like you're achieving that goal and start hammering that goal. I'm going to pause here. Thank you for your time, but I will start taking questions. Probably I'll have a chat with Raj. Otherwise, I'll see you next week. Next week, we are focusing on pathways, and we'll start with the path which is most familiar with our audience, presentation mastery. But what we will be looking at is look into pathways, look into all the projects of the pathways, and then we can discuss. So then at least you know what is the journey looking like. Thank you, and I'll have a chat with Raj. I'll stop the recording now.